So ladies, are you ready to talk about networking and negotiating?
Yes.
Yeah, Bo.
Cool stuff. So just before we do get into that, I just want to hear from you. Did you get a chance to look at the video on numbers? Maybe did you get a chance to play around with numbers this week? We can start with you,
Yes.
Matimbi.
Yes. Even today,
Good.
and I was looking at the numbers, but I wanted to ask while I was still on those numbers, when we project like the rental, you calculate the rent before it's being renovated, the property, or even after it's being renovated. How do you calculate the rent?
So now when you look at the bottom of the Excel of the calculator, you're going to
Yes.
see two tabs.
Okay.
The second tab, when you go into it, it helps you calculate the average price for selling. And then it also helps you calculate the average price for rental. And the average price for rental will always be after the renovation, because you wouldn't
Oh,
want to be renting out a house that hasn't been fixed up.
oh, okay. Because now I wanted to ask this. For example, today there is another property like it's 7,000. There are tenants already that it's there. There are there, like they're paying 7,000. But I wanted to understand exactly whether I need maybe to add some money of like after it's being renovated. It can be more than that.
So here's a different school of thought. I always find out in the current situation, how much rent are people paying? One. Then I want to know in the area, what is the general consensus on rent? Okay. And then I go
Okay.
on to Property 24 and I look at what is happening in the neighborhood that they're advertising online. When I get a
Okay.
view of these three things, then I'm in a better position, because if tenants are paying, for example, I've got a deal right now. There is tenants that are paying 8,000 Rand, but the
Okay.
neighbor's paying 20,000 Rand. And the
Wow.
difference is the current tenant, firstly, is
Okay.
staying in a place that is half broken. Okay.
Okay.
And the second
Yes.
part is, because he's a builder, he's then negotiated to pay little less than 50% of the area rent. And each month there is something that he will fix in the house.
Okay.
So that was a situation where the tenant found a good negotiation, and they found, well, we rather get a half a loaf of bread instead of none.
Okay.
So I would always say, go onto Property 24, look at what is happening in the area, a comparable, listen to what the real estate agent says about that particular place. If that place needs renovating, then you already know, in a good world, when it's renovated, that it will be able to fetch more rent. And then hear what's happening in the area about rental.
Okay. Okay.
Does
No,
that help
no.
you?
Yes, because that was my question, whether, for example, like right now, when I was doing my calculation, I was doing it with the rent that the tenants are paying right now,
With you.
Yeah. Mm, no, I understand now.
Yeah, because then if they, like now, I mean, like for example, with this particular tenant, he's paying 8,000 Rand. At the end of the day, if he's paying 8,000 Rand in an area where the neighbor is paying 20, there's another neighbor that's paying 22 and a half, then you have to ask, in the conditions he's living in, he's willing to pay that amount. But now when it's fixed up, can you then go on what's happening in the area?
Okay. Okay. No, I'm answered.
Perfect stuff. Cool stuff. And Lebo, did you get, I know that you've been busy with business a lot.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to either listen to the video or maybe play around on the deal calculator?
Nope. I haven't looked at it ever.
Cool. No problem.
So,
But this is part of the process. It happened. So,
Yep.
like I was sharing earlier, the first 4 weeks is really to get the skill there. So that whenever you guys are now out in the field for week 5 and 6, finding opportunities, when we sit together and we have that one-on-one, face-to-face consultation, and we, go and see the property, we go through this process again to say, okay, what have you learned so far and what can you apply? And you'll pick up momentum, more especially because you've got access to the videos, and you can always go back to the videos.
Yep.
Cool. So I want to find out from both of you, in terms of networking, where do you go to network? Lebo, maybe we could start with you this time. Network in general, whether it's for business or whatever.
So it depends. So I'll do your normal business or industry specific business training,
Mm-hmm.
and your, like with SMMEs, I go mainly to Innovation Hub. They've got different things there. And then industry specific. So anything for IT service management, I'll go, and, depending. So that's what I normally do.
Cool bananas. Do you find that it's useful when you are there to have your business card handy?
Of course, yes. Because ultimately, it's opportunity cost, right? I'm not there to go eat that cheese and drink wine. I'm there for a specific reason, and pushing and understanding that having the materials ready and whatnot, to have that conversation as well. So if they ask me, so what do you do? Then I'll have my stuff ready to share with them, and, so let
Wonderful.
it not be a wasted opportunity, sort of.
Absolutely. Wonderful stuff. Matembe, any insights from your side on networking, whether it was with SAPIN or any other networking channel?
Yeah, I used to go for SAPIN most of the time, but in other especially for property. So if there is any property workshop or whatever meeting and I'm available, I just attend, because I just want to learn and learn and learn and learn, and just to network with other people. And because the time you meet with others, so sometimes you find that, oh, you're having the same problem, or how do they solve some of the issues. So yeah, that's how I do it.
Awesome. No, that's fantastic stuff, ladies. That's good feedback. I mean, the reason I ask a question which may sound so simple is because in property, when we say SAPIN, it's the SA Property Investor Network. So let me just, for sake of us being here on the call, I just want to go into Facebook. Okay, I am in Facebook. There we go. Share. What I want to share is when we go to SA Property Investor Network, go figure, it's right at the top, hey? So when you go into the SA Property Investor Network, you will find the SA Property Investor Network group, which is right on the top with little over 51,000 people. When you go into this particular group, you can like the page. It's an open public group. You can like the page. Here it will tell you to post your questions if you've got any questions property related, attend live events, join as a premium member. I'm a premium member. And this is where they are in the different cities in Joburg, Cape Town, Durban, Centurion, Soweto, and Somerset West. So in Joburg, whenever they're here, for most, they are in Bryanston Country Club. TJ, I'm very jealous. He's going to Cape Town next week to the SAPIN event. But this is what you do when you're a full-time property investor. You start following the networks, right? And fortunately for M5 Property Addicts, they've got representation both in Cape Town, Durban, Joburg, and Pretoria. So they literally use the network really well with Joburg, Cape Town, and Centurion. When it's in Centurion, it's usually at the Protea Hotel. My Durban people are following me a lot, and they're asking me, when am I coming? So this would be a good opportunity for me, for example, as a business, to go and represent and be in Durban at the same time as as having a SAPIN event. So I show you this page to show you this is the platform that I use to network specifically in property. And that's the one component. Yeah, even some of the questions I don't know answers to, I come in post. One of my students asked a question, and I know I went on here was it last night or this morning? Let me just see if I can find my name quickly. So you can see that I also post religiously here, because of course as coaches we don't know everything. And just as Matembi explained, let me just type my name, Genevieve Stafford Jack. And as Matembi explained, you're always learning constantly. So yes, it was yesterday evening, so 24 hours ago, I went on here and I posed a question that one of my students was asking me that I wasn't aware of. In this question, I then had whoever Lesetja is answer part of the question. Rian, I know him from the network, and Gareth Shefferson is a lawyer as well that I know from the network. So I got comprehensive information. And for the fact that I can identify who it was that gave me this information, it gives me comfort that the information that I was looking for and the answer that I was given is coming from trusted sources, because I can easily inbox him. I can easily inbox him as well. And everything that we do from a property investment point of view, we don't only just meet when there's an event, but we can come to this page and ask questions, and we know in full well that not even 24 hours later, we get a question. I mean, we get our question answered. Here you can also see there was somebody that was looking for a lady to do talks. Somebody in the network mentioned me. So this is also from a traction point of view to get attention. The one thing though I want to caution us on is that on this particular platform, we don't get to advertising our services, especially me being in property and I've got a property service. But if I was a lawyer, I don't know if they would tell me no or yes or whatever the case is. But the moment there's a question, you'll find that there's a lot of people that answered here. For example, we go in. So Nkonzo tagged me. Mauricia mentioned Rian or Andrew. Nomfusi mentioned Ibo. So there's Riesa mentioned TJ from M5 Property Addicts. So everybody's recommending people from their point of view of having experience of some sorts from a particular person. So I show you SAPIN just to show you that we also post here regularly, because all I did was I typed my name, right? And I've been asking questions. Another student of mine, Nontlantla, she asked me a question. So I said, is there someone that can assist my friend to evaluate a place in Flareoff? Mauricia gave me information. Mauricia inboxed me. I sent all the information to Nontlantla. 24 hours later, Nontlantla responded to me saying, thank you so much for all the information. So-and-so came to do it for free. So I share and position SAPIN, not because I get any money from them, I don't, but I share about them because I get a lot of help from the SAPIN page and also from being in this particular network, because this is where I get to, as a premier member, position any of my deals that I may have. So what do you think of that, ladies?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's good because even me, I think that's where I'm able to meet with some investors saying I'm looking for what type of property, and yeah, it's a good network.
Definitely a good network.
Mm.
Lebo, what I would like to do is extend an invitation to you. The next time there is an event here in Joburg, that the two of us go.
Of course, yes.
Okay. So as a premium member, I can bring a +1. You
Oh,
can be
okay.
my +1, so you can experience it. I encourage all my students to go through, because
Yeah.
education may have started with me, but it mustn't end with me.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Cool bananas. And yeah, and for me, in terms of networking, for me, that's about the biggest one that I've got going, which is this SA Property Investor Network. I encourage that the next time you come, bring your business card. It doesn't matter what your business card says. The fact that it's got your name and your contact number is the most important thing, because on my card, all it says is facilitator, trainer, and coach. For the fact
Yeah.
that I'm in the property space, somebody could immediately assume in property. But the moment I go to the IT space, like when you were talking about Innovative Hub and all of those places, the moment
Yeah.
I dish out my card, it says facilitator, coach, and trainer. And then everybody naturally assumes. That was a nice accident that I had, actually. It wasn't a
Yeah,
genius
that's
thought.
actually quite cute.
Yeah, it wasn't a genius thought. It was a pure good accident. I promise you, because when I started FHC Consulting, that's what I put on there.
Yeah.
And I wasn't specific to it. And then when I started, moving around quite a bit, then I realized, hey, that was actually a very, very clever one.
Yeah, because it doesn't limit your market. So,
Exactly.
you know,
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so that is in a nutshell about networking. And I mean, I think we all three find the value in networking, so we don't have to harp on too much. Cool. So we can move over to negotiating. So I would like to find out from you, Matembi, in the property space that you've been in, what are the things that you've been able to negotiate on for
okay.
property?
Oh, firstly, is to market myself to investors.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think, yeah, I think that one, because I've got a lot of investors looking for property.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my weakness right now, I don't know it's a weakness or what, but I'm still struggling to the offer to purchase, maybe to drop the price when it comes to estate agents, because most of the property that I'm finding it through estate agents, and therefore
Okay.
it's so difficult for me when now I'm like to them, I'm starting to negotiate the price of like, because I'm now I know my calculations, I checked maybe with Lightstone, and therefore now I understand exactly. But that's where now the problem is with my negotiation skill, because that's where I'm struggling, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you, Lebo, in anything that you had to do in terms of your business or whatever it is, how would you see your negotiating skills?
It depends on how confident I am in what I am selling.
Okay.
So if I've done it before and I know that what the end result is of whatever that I'm proposing, then I can negotiate a bit harder. And one of the tactics that I use is pitch higher, and then you fall on the amount that you actually wanted, So, because initially I had this thing of, ooh, if I ask for this, then it will mean I'm crazy or whatever. So finding that sweet spot in terms of over over pitching the price, and then we negotiate. So you get your target amount based on, they'll think they're getting a discount.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so at least the two of you can already identify. One of the things I do encourage all of my students to do is, for property, there's a bit of a recipe to some of the negotiations that I will share with you. But the obvious things, as we know, when it comes to negotiating, it may not always be obvious, but what I would like to call obvious is the key aspects to negotiating is building rapport. I find that when I'm talking to somebody, hala, how's this, how's that? But obviously the small talk needs to be in the right place. It mustn't sound like I'm just grasping at something and I don't like silence. Because when I find that if I've got an interest point together with the other person, then I'm going to find out more about them. So what I tend to do from time to time, not all the time, if I find a deal online, I go in and I check out that person's profile. Okay? If that person's got tattoos, be sure I'm going to talk about their tattoos first. Why? Because there's generally a story behind the tattoo. And because I've got 4 of them, people immediately notice why I will ask about the tattoo, and then they feel like they're going to ask me about my tattoos. So when we kind of trade a little bit warm, fuzzy stories, we kind of feel like we're singing off the page. We're a lot more comfortable with each other, making chit-chatters. So I find that interests are fundamental drivers of any sort of negotiation, whether it's basic conversation that I was talking about, whether it's something that I want. Like when I see somebody with a sleeve tattoo, I'm like, yo, the way I want something like that, but I'm a bangbroek to have such a, lot of tattoo on my arm. Then, I find that it becomes quite easy to have a conversation with them thereafter. However, I say to the students as well, and I remind myself often when I'm negotiating, before I start negotiating, I need to also be sincere about what I'm doing. And I need to be intentional for what I'm doing. So when I started looking for properties using that I'm looking for a fix me up a type of post, that has gotten me the deal that I'm busy that I'm busy selling right now. And it's a lucrative deal because when I looked at the deal, how long they've got the property, the storyline behind it, there's a lot of heartache behind it. It's not that I wanted to abuse the heartache. I thought, what if I say I'm walking away? And in this negotiation, he mentioned price once or twice. And every like 3rd day, I would touch base. Hi, Ty, how you doing? How's babies? Him and his wife has just recently had a baby. So I first talk about diapers, the cost of diapers, how expensive they are. Then I ask him, when last has he seen his gran? How is she doing? Because he's acting on behalf of his granny. His mother is a bit of a scatterbrain by the sounds of things, and he's acting on behalf of his granny, and his granny always trusts his judgment. So I start talking about those niceties. Why? Because when I first got to meeting him, I asked obvious questions. Hey, how's it? Thank you so much for meeting me. He says, do you always look for projects like this? I said, yeah, I tend to do so. But I tend to do so in neighborhoods that are closest to my heart because I'm all about family. And he says, oh, that's so nice. I said, do you have a family? I already saw on his Facebook that his wife gave birth. What did he immediately start talking about? So I just find that when I find these certain key aspects, especially because property becomes such a personal journey, I find having this conversation tends to work. Not every time, but 99% of the time it does. So it's really just important in terms of building that rapport with somebody so that when you eventually get to offering a price, then you've already had this conversation. So the way I came up with price with Tyron was, I had sent him a message. I'm like, regardless of how I work out the numbers, I'm not getting an optimal number. So I'm going to have to say, I'm going to walk away from this because I'm not getting to something feasible. And he responded with a thumbs up. That evening, he called me. He says, Jen, what was it that you were thinking of? In fact, Lebo, when was I there by your house? On Friday. I think it was on Friday. But anyway, I remember driving from Lebo's house. I think it was on Friday, yeah. And as I was driving, he had called. And we had this conversation, and I said to him, you know what, Tyron, I didn't want to offer you the 1.55, especially because you put the property on the market for 1.95. And I just think, it's a huge jump, and I wasn't ready to have that conversation with you. And I put it out there, and I felt relieved. I knew I was going to, but I felt relieved after a time. And I thought, well, let's see what happens from here. Yes, it was on Friday then. And so for me, it was a matter of, it was one of those few deals where the person called me back and we had a conversation. He had something to do for the weekend. I had something to do for the weekend. We touched base on Monday. We touched base yesterday. We even touched base today. I asked him, how was his grand? Did he get a chance to talk to his granny? And then in all of this, I said, do you know what? For the fact that I found you directly, we found each other directly, why don't we just go straight to the same conveyancer and cut out Sotheby's because they didn't do any work here? And then your grand will be able to get more money from this deal, because then that would be less 5% that you'll get because Sotheby's, but then double check your sole mandate. So it was different types of conversation. So there's no usually one recipe, but just know what your bigger picture is when you start tackling these different things. And so for me, it worked out quite okay, because today I knew he was going to go and see his granny. But in the same breath, I said to him, you met business partners of mine before. You're going to meet a more serious business partner tomorrow. Can we come and view the property at the usual time? And he was like, oh, okay. And he organized it. And then he said to me, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And I said, yeah, and tomorrow we can have a chat further. But what I did there was, he's going to have a chat with his granny. His granny is in a lot of debt at the moment. Gran and the auntie bought the place in 1996 for 250,000 Rand. In 1996. So even if they took 20 years to pay it off, they're sitting with the property debt-free for the last 3 years. That's assuming they didn't tap into equity. So there's different ways to skin a cat. And when it comes to property negotiating, I know that the estate agents are not always the easiest. But with the estate agents, I realize it's a numbers game. But when I'm dealing with somebody one-on-one, and it's their property or their relative's property, the conversation takes on a different nuance altogether. So I want to find out from you, is there anything that you picked up that you think was handy in this negotiation that I was talking about?
Yeah, Jenny, it's I think it is if you are talking to the owner of the property, because I think for me, one problem at the meantime, unfortunately, I don't have any direct communication with the owner. So immediately you are trying to this estate agent, oh, they will say, no, the owner will not accept this one. And we are like, really? Before even they can go and talk to the owner, So that's where the problem right now that I'm facing is.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So now the encouragement I can give you on that level is, with the estate agents, it's a numbers game. There was an estate agent.
Maybe give an example of the things, like a conversation that you would have with them? Just
with
for
an estate. Sure,
Yeah.
no problem. With the estate agent, it becomes so tricky. Let me just see if I've got Oka's details here. So I want to see. I just want to see the conversation. If this conversation was also here, because Oka just left me high and dry. Okay, he left me high and dry on the chat. So you know what my fix me up a message? The day I posted for Northcliffe is the same day I posted for Florida. Florida, I got one hit. Northcliffe, I got so many. Orchid calls me one day. Hi, remember we had a conversation. I've got I've got a house that's on for sale. And I said, okay, cool. When can I view it? It was a Friday. I go through on the Friday. It's in Discovery. No problem with Discovery. Actually, I just want to see if I can't just put it on WhatsApp, put my WhatsApp here so I can get to the link. WhatsApp web. You know, I like to talk from where I'm looking at. Anyway, he said, sure. I go through with him. I then realized, actually, we're not in Florida itself. We are in, let's see, WhatsApp web. We are in, what is this place? Discovery. So I go and I see the place. Guys, when I talk about the place looking like rubbish, it looked like they use that place to litter. And I got excited when I saw it, because then I'm just thinking prime suspect number one. Firstly, Orchid says we haven't done the listing yet. I go through, I have a look. I ask him, how much is it? Then he tells me, oh, this listing is going for, I'm going to go to Orchid's name. He says, oh, this listing is going for $875, but the area is, I think he said it could go up to 1.1 or something like that. I can't even remember. So I said, okay, sure, no problem. I go through the Friday, we have a look. When I'm done there, I'm confident that this place is going to be the it for me. Well, in between somewhere and somewhere, Awkward had a conversation with the owner, and the owner said that he's going to get the guy to come and clean up nicely, and I still said to Awkward, it doesn't really matter. Long story short, when I went to go and see the place again, which was 4 days later, I took the builder and I took TJ, because I still said, TJ, this is like 5 minutes away from your previous deal. Then I see outside is neat. Can you all see the pictures?
Yes.
Yeah,
I see outside is
Yes.
neat. And then I say to Ockert, but Ockert, I thought we agreed that this is what I'd be doing. 2-3 days later, the place was even painted. So by the time Ockert sent me these pictures, it was like I was not in that dump. This place was a dump. You see where this cover is? There's chojos inside this cover. And when I say chojos, I'm not even exaggerating, because where are those other pictures? But anyway, I know the conversation you wanted is, what was the sort of conversation? My idea of sharing all of that is to say it's so scattered, because one day the estate agent will say to you, yes, this and this, and another day they'll say, no, this and this. One of the things I do ask, how many people have been to view the property? By this time, I was the first person. Then I asked, what is the owner willing to do on this particular property? Because I'm looking for a fix-me-upper. And I'm very clear about it. I want to fix it up. And then I said to Ockert that day, after he sent me this, I said, Ockert, what I'm looking for and what you're showing me right now is two different things, because I'm looking for a fix-me-upper, and what you're showing me now is changed from what I saw the first day. So when it comes to estate agents, they don't always do as you ask. They do as they will, and they will always look for the interest of their commission. There's another student as well that said, Jen, there's a estate agent that laughed at me. I don't like that she laughed at me because I thought we built quite a good relationship up to this point. There's other estate agents that just say, don't be impossible. That's not what you're going to get around here. So I share all of that to say, guys, there is no straightforward conversation to have with an estate agent. Because this, what I see here now, that was listed on the 8th of August, the 9th of August, I had to walk away from it. Not because for me, it was a matter of, guys, you can't play with my emotions. So sorry that I do not have a kind of script for them, but the
Yeah,
estate agents is a numbers game. They purely a numbers game.
all right.
And
Yeah.
and if we remember our first day of coaching, do you see how much the area is going for here?
Mm-hmm.
So now that guy Orchid was going to put this on for 875, but after doing it up, they've posted it for 895.
Ah.
And also the conversations in terms of what the sellers need are so different from one to another. Do you know the reason why these people are selling? These people are these people are selling because they have recently bought a baby crocodile and they're looking for a plot. And they want the crocodile to grow up on the plot.
White people's problems.
Exactly.
So therefore, I shall be talking about environment, how animals are supposed to have a nice environment to grow in. So, but I guess with the negotiations and the conversations that you're having, let it be with the estate agent or the owners, it's just people, finding out what makes them tick and being authentic in terms of your conversation, not trying to project yourself to be interested in shit that you're not interested in.
There you go. So again, when I say an estate agent, they is purely a numbers game. This is this is why I felt in May, just think about it, 2.5 years into property investing, in May, I posted for the first time on Facebook to get property face to face with an owner. Okay. Since then, I've gotten to speak to more owners directly than via an estate agent. In the past, how did I get to speaking to the owners? I went into Gumtree. I went into OLX. And then I went into private property. And then on private property, I started noticing in the recent while that estate agents are flooding private property as well.
Okay.
So Matimba, you're not alone.
No.
You're definitely
Hey,
not alone.
yeah, because these people, they will just stop you without, and you're like, why? Because they don't even, you can see if someone will like, no, this one it's 980, so they will not allow anything maybe less than 950, and you're like, how come?
Because you're impacting on the commission.
The
So
commission,
they
yeah.
see you as the competition.
Exactly. I went, look at how he left this conversation. He didn't even acknowledge what I said. Share.
It seems
you.
like you still have emotions, girl.
Yeah, I'm like, this guy didn't even say bah. He sent me the link. I said, good morning, trust you had a good weekend. Wow, that advert looks beautiful. After the quote I got on renovation, the calculations on my side is not what I'm looking for. The house was great potential. However, I'm going to have to walk away from this one. If you have any other properties that are in worse condition, please let me know. Really appreciate your time and effort. Nothing dololo after this. Dololo. And yet, if I move this away, let me move this here away. You'll see in the, see here on WhatsApp, he didn't talk a lot. Actually, I think it was more on, where is, how do you search now? Message request. I was trying to remember how to search now on this thing. No, let's see if I say new message, what would it come up with? If I say Occur's name, Occur.
Guys, if you say to the estate agents, you come clean in terms of this is what you want, and then you can, this is what's in it for them, would they not go for it?
That's why I said the estate agents, they're in it for what they can get.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And not every estate agent is open to an investor.
Okay.
Definitely. Because recently I was checking, so I saw in one of the adverts, it's like no negotiation for the price, even in the advert. So which means they just want to stop you. You cannot even start to say, can we?
Absolutely.
But what's the objective? Is it not to sell the house and get your commission? So if you're hanging on to the house, what good does it do?
The objective is to sell the house, you're right. But the most I can get out of it is, I believe, is what the approach is for many of them, is how much can I get out of it?
And they take advantage that most of the people, they don't do calculations, they only take whatever that is in front of them. If they will convince them of saying, no, this is a good price in this area, the houses are so much and therefore yours is, while you did not check even in the lights down. For example, today I found one house, it's like, no, this one, it's a good, it's being reduced. And when I was checking the estimated value, it's 1.6 and they're selling it with 1.6, and I'm like,
Yeah, but my question would be, what is your ultimate price that you're looking for this property? In terms of who buys it, what business of it is it theirs? So it's for me to find out how much they're selling for and how much are they, and then work within that and see if I can negotiate around, so match them on their end result of getting a buyer for that house.
With you. Yeah, I must admit, from this side looking in, some days I do think that they're a little selfish and territorial, but from the other side, I just wonder how, and I say hungry, not only literally, I wonder how hungry are the estate agents. Look at this conversation. On the 6th of June, he said, "Good morning. I'm a property consultant with Fine and Country. I saw your message on Facebook for Fix Me Up a Property. What price bracket are you looking at, if I may ask?" Good morning, Ockert. Thank you for your message. I'm looking at about 700 to 800. Now, I don't know if you remember the other day, I shared with you guys that when I'm looking for a place, I never tell them I've got 900, because they always take me to a place that's over the amount that I asked for. So he must have responded to my second message, because this was on the 6th of June. Okay. And then he told me, "Thank you. I have a property available, 3-bed, 1-bath, da 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 da." Okay. The house has Rhodesian teak floors that killed me. And then he tells me 930. Do you see what my request was? Between 700 and 800. He said 930. I asked, "Where's this property situated?" He said, "Florida." I said, "I'm open to viewing it. Is it a fix me upper though? It sounds pretty by your description." Then he says, the floors need a polish and some windows are broken, which will be replaced. The geyser is leaking a bit. So some ceilings are being replaced by the insurance and also needs painting. The kitchen is old and can be redone to bring it back into the modern era. Lights need a replacement and the bathroom can use an upgrade. Garden needs a clean. He says, when done, I guarantee the house will be gorgeous. But see what I was asking for. He described what I was looking for. Okay. One of the tricks that I do use when an estate agent takes me to a place that is, say if I said 800, they take me to a place that's 875. And when I do put in an offer for 800, when I do put in an offer for 800, then they say to me, no. Then I ask them why, because I told you 800. So I thought you're bringing me here because you're open for negotiation. Some of them are not very happy with me after that. Okay, so I said, now that's the picture of what I'm looking for. When can I view? He says, I will set the date with the seller and let you know. You see this conversation, to have never responded to me on WhatsApp, he's now having a dandy conversation with me. He even called me on Messenger. So I told him, sorry, I missed the call. He called me again on Messenger. And then we eventually set up an appointment of when we're going to view the place. So sometimes you may even think, hey, you know what, I've got it in the bag. But the estate agent will just pull one on you. Or why is it that he was able to call me all this time, but come through to WhatsApp? Crickets, not even, sure, no problem, I'll keep you in mind. So again, my point is, there's never a straightforward answer when you're dealing with people, because there's a lot of emotions that you're dealing with. And when it comes to property, to real estate agents, it's a numbers game. I've encouraged students before, in one area, find 10 estate agents. When you're done with those 10, one of them is going to understand your need. But if you can get an owner of a property, then you got gold.
So I guess it's cutting out the middleman type scenario. They don't want too many middlemen.
They don't want to, yeah, true. And then the second part is that if you say and you stick to it that I'm looking for a fix me upper, I'm like, in my response to him, I'm like, there's, I was looking for a fix me upper. There's nothing left to do. The renovations doesn't even make sense now anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. So with the real estate agents, I will just say, if you go into, let me just go back in here, share. You go back into property 24. You go in and you look for your for sale. If I'm looking in my Floridas, I find my Florida. I search. I'm just contented doing this. And then I start, you see, when I start seeing perfect home for a single person, get your first I'm not interested. Are you tired of paying rent? This is your opportunity. I'm not interested. Are you budget wise? I'm not even interested with this little dirty kitchen here. And then I start looking at the different descriptions. Renovated upstairs, bachelor flat. I can't be interested. I look at this, calling all first-time buyers or investors first interest. Why? Because they called my name. When I go in here, I then want to know, am I going to really see? And then I look at this and I'm like, no, you're not calling the skilled investor. You are calling the unprofessional investor, because this property is seemingly in order. And that's all I do. Becomes a numbers game. So that was my first approach. I go and look at all of the properties in the area, or then I go in and I say most recent. When I'm done with most recent, I scroll right to the bottom. I go to the last page and I work my way backward. Why? Because then that is the oldest. There we go. There's the oldest advert here. If I go into this 360 and then I start looking at when was it that they advertised, the 4th of April 2016, but why? And then I start reading. This property is sold via installment sale. This is an investor strategy where the client pays a 10% deposit payable over 3 months and an installment of only 5.4 per month over 60 months interest free. This is installment sale, no bond needed. Pay your property interest free. This owner is in trouble. So for me, I would then go and have the conversation. So why an installment sale? What does it look like? Because this is the oldest property that is up for rent right now. And then I start working my way backwards. Because for me, I know it can get very frustrating, but I go and I look and I work my way backwards. And I ask myself, what else can I get from here? When I'm tired of property 24, I go onto Gumtree. Gumtree, I type the TLC properties. When I'm done with that, I go into Facebook. And it's never an easy game where you're going to sit once straight away, because you want something to negotiate with. Then you want to ask yourself, but why is this on an installment sale? What is the person going to get out of here? Okay? What's happening in Florida Heights? When I start then looking at whatever's better, this is a negotiation point, because then you can find maybe a different way. The current tenant is paying 3.4 as part of your in installment sale. You'll only pay 2,000, which is, so now it's 5,400 times 60. When I see 5,400 times 60, that's 324,000. When I look at that 324,000, this, what did we see it going for? 360. So I want to know my 360 minus 324. That person needs 36,000. 36,000 divided by 3 over 3 months. What do they need 12,000 for? Because the first 3 months, it's going to be 12,000 plus 5,400. So for the first 3 months of staying there, you're going to pay 17,400. What need do they want to fix? And that's the sort of conversation you're going to end up having with Penny. Does that make sense, guys? Because we're looking for negotiation options here.
Yeah, we understand.
Yeah, I see it. Like, from a novice eyesight, if I had to read all of this, all that information that you just came up with, I'm like, what?
What was she smoking? Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's some side notes there invisible.
But this is what happens, which is why I share, finding an opportunity. 99% of property on the market is not a property investing opportunity. You're going to have to create one. Right now, this installment sale looks lucrative to somebody that really doesn't know. Because I'm thinking, okay, if I'm paying 5.4 over 60 months, is it coming up to this full bond amount? If it's not, they've told me in the description that I'm paying a 10% deposit. The 10% deposit, if I have to look at it, is 36,000. Isn't it? Yeah, 36,500. But when I look at the grand scheme of life, when I see 5,400 times 60, 324. So if I say 36,500, it brings me to 360,500, which is there. Then you think, okay, I see you. So my question though, what is this person currently going through to have even put out an installment sale as an option to buy this property?
Yeah, it might be the duration that it's been on the market. It's just a way to say, oh, instead of a lump sum, you can actually,
Yeah.
it might be one of the strategies.
It could be that strategy, but the question here is, what is this client going through emotionally?
Yes.
What is their problem?
Yeah, and the estate agent is not going to tell you straight up. He's going to make up his own things.
And then you're going to ask them, why would they choose an installment sale? Tell me more about the installment sale.
Yeah.
Today on the Telegram group, the coaching group, I posted a link to Bruno explaining what an installment sale is. Just in case you didn't get a chance to have a look at it.
Okay,
we've got a lot of resources that we can check out.
We saw it.
Okay. The other things that you can negotiate on, I always just say, find out one of your first questions. Why is the owner selling? When they start coming up with fluffy ideas.
Yeah, and these days it's like it's immigration. So why? And most of them, I don't know, maybe now they know this term of we're asking them that question. I don't know. Because the answer, it seems like it's common now.
Is it? Sometimes we think a lot because we've got a lot of information.
Okay.
No disrespect to anything like that. It's just sometimes we think a lot. I know I'm prime suspect number one. I'm prime suspect number one.
Yeah, because they don't want to deal with somebody who knows and who can through the loopholes. So the dumber you play, the better.
Exactly.
So Matembi, don't come with your Zibangi mentality there of knowing it all.
yeah. But that's the first question that I used to ask them. And now I'm like, why these people, most of them, although I'm asking different people, but the answer now, it's like it's common. Like, is it true? But let's hope.
I'm with you. I certainly am with you. It is a tough one. Just remember, when we started our working journey in life, it was a little bit tough to begin with. There's always going to be your good days and your bad days. I can tell you in May, I was complaining to Tao. I said, Flip, I haven't found a property in the last 2 months. I feel like I'm back to amateur status. He said to me, Jen, just calm down. I said, no, calming down is not an option. It's not an option. Like, I wasn't hearing calm down, But when things started rolling again in June and putting some deals didn't go through and. So now I'm on tippy toes because I'm excited about North Club.
Yeah, but my friend, it's the what goes up must come down, Nangish. You can't always be on the up.
Exactly. And this is exactly where I'm coming from, because who better than me to share that piece of information when that's a hard lesson I'm just learning right now, right? And I'm laughing at it because I'm like, it's a real thing.
Yeah, you'll see your mother, you.
Yeah, for real. You will tell
And
about that
Jen,
for real.
yeah, while we are still talking, for example, in that of Northcliffe that we are having, so
Mhm.
when you do the flipping, do you charge maybe also the investor the sourcing fee while on the other side it's back to back, or
I will show
when maybe
you.
you want to do? Okay,
No, this deal is purely a flip. This
okay,
well, this is not no. Let me just start again. This deal for me, I'm selling it. I am not the
okay,
one that's investing.
okay.
I'm the one that's selling the deal to an investor.
Yes,
Remember,
okay, you're
there's
going to charge the sourcing fee.
let me just go back here. Share. Okay. So you see,
Yes,
we have a residential property in Northcliffe. It's a distressed property that needs renovation. The asking price is 1950. However, we have negotiated the price, the sale for 1550, cash or bond. The property is situated in a luxury suburb in Johannesburg. Then I give all of what it has.
this, yes,
Okay. And then
yes,
in here, said the current owner is 85 years old. Beatrice bought the house together with her daughter Tanya. I give the story, the background. The primary
okay,
strategy with the property is to renovate and sell, as there's a potential of 31% ROI.
okay,
Suggestion for a buy to hold: the swimming pool can be closed and a cottage can be built to increase rental income. Alternatively, to make a bigger profit, the property can be subdivided. What have I just done? I've given any investor three options.
okay,
Okay. So this investment opportunity, we're looking for investors that are interested in making a potential 31% return on investment. This deal is for sale.
okay.
Okay. So that's the general information that I put in.
Mm.
Now the numbers. I put the numbers both in bond and cash.
Yes.
Do you see where it says sourcing fee?
Mm, mm.
I've got my sourcing fee there.
Okay.
So on this one, I've then said, because it's been up and down, I negotiated 400,000 off of the price. I deserve bells for that. Yes. So here, the electricity is prepaid, so there's no pricing there. The rates and taxes is 2,000. It's just less than 2,000.
Mm,
The insurance, I use the rule of thumb. And then
okay.
here it shows when we go down, I've gone with timber. So timber has given me the renovation. The renovation cost is 260,000, and I wrote
Okay.
timber there. The seller is to pay the outstanding rates because that's what we're also going to put on the OTP.
Mm,
And yeah, they're going to make a return on investment on 31.4%. And
okay.
they'll be selling at 50,000 under market value
Mm,
to make this 31. So even if they sell it at 2.5, 500 meters away from both properties, at least this property, somebody is sold for 2.5. Another
okay.
750 meters, somebody sold for 2.5. Another kilometer, somebody's sold for 2.50.
Okay.
2.450. So even if
Mm,
they go and they sell it at 2.5, this 31% increases.
okay.
Okay. Then there's a rental strategy. If they rent out the house for 23,000, just renovate and rent out the house. The average rental in the area in a place that is still very old fashioned is 22,500. I put this
Okay.
at 23,000 because I went
Okay.
and I did an average. In here as well, there's the management fee, the void, the maintenance, all of that. And so if they go on here, they get a 4.3%, which means on a monthly
Oh,
basis, their cash flow, after everything's been taken care of, they still get almost 3,000 cash flow.
okay. Oh, Jenny, on that note, because for me that ROI for rental, I
Mhm.
want it to be 11%. So, okay.
So,
Um,
yes, you can have it at 11%, but you must remember every area has a different nuance. My
yes.
thinking is this: There's a management fee, there's a void fee, and there's a maintenance fee. And in all of this, if I am looking for a rental income, my rental income covers everything that I have, and I still got 3,000 Rand every month as a cash flow after everything that's been paid. My prerogative is, what am I after? Is 3,000 good enough, not good enough?
Okay. So the insurance, how do you calculate this 2,000?
For me, I use the rule of thumb: to every 500,000, I put 250 Rand.
Okay.
So if it's 500,000, 250 Rand. If it's 1 million, it will be 500 Rand. If it's 1.5 million, it will be 750. If it's 2,000, 2 million, yeah. That's how I get there. So here I've then also explained, you see the ROI on the rental is not the best, but the ROI on profit,
it's good.
On a flip is good, right? If this flip strategy is my primary strategy, if they can't flip the property, they can still make money, just not as high as they want it.
Yeah.
Okay, on a rental. But yeah, I've then said, if you can't flip the property, the suggestion for the buy to hold is close up the pool, and then you build a cottage that increases the rental income. There's staff quarters there that increases the rental income. Or if you want to subdivide, that increases the rental income.
Okay.
So now I've given them options for what will happen thereafter.
Okay. I'm with you.
Awesome stuff. So we look for opportunities.
Oh, sorry. So in that rental, which is an ROI, which is 4%, you included this alteration, or maybe it's before? Or
no, the rental is after the alteration, because currently right now the tenant that is staying there is a builder, and he's paying 50% of the rental in the area because the place is just in a bad condition. And every month he fixes something that he can fix on condition that he pays part of the rent. But now 500 meters from there, in a house that still needs to be done up. Let's see if I can find that house. Because again, this is all the research that I had to do, right? Last week we actually did numbers on the house I'm talking about, the old-fashioned house. Because if you can see here, I think we might have found it here somewhere, where that guy bought the house for 1.7 million and he bonded the place for 2.2 million.
Okay.
There we go, Swazi. You see, 1, 2. This is an open mandate. Do you see that label?
Okay.
When you go in and you select a advert and more than one comes up, open mandate. It's an open mandate, which means any one of these people can sell it.
Oh, okay.
And if
so you're not only dealing with one estate agent, it's two.
Yeah, in fact, when you go in front of this particular house, there are 4 boards in the corner of the house. So you see, this all looks very nice in the pictures, but when you're in there, it's a very different experience. The pink bathroom is still my never end, this one. This house, rental, 22.5.
For what were they thinking? That pink is just...
Extra, ne?
It's too extra, my friend.
Yeah, this house, 22 and a half. So this is the plans for future.
Okay.
The guy, when he first bought the place, he then envisioned in the garage, on top of the garage is going to make a two-bedroom unit. All these plans here are all approved. This guy's immediate neighbor sold for 2.5 million.
Yeah, the plans look lovely.
Enormous potential and approved plans for beautiful family home. This is the guy that helped me. But now if we go in and we check to rent in Northcliffe, we search. When we look at that, low to high, you will then start seeing, let me go to the, I think it was on page 3. Can see I've been scrolling up and down here. I know which pages to go to. It freaks me out when I know these things. Okay, no, it wasn't page 3. So you see, these are flats. These are flats that are going for 8.5, 10,000. Here, there we go. 15,000, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 15,000. These are all reduced. Townhouse, 15,000. 4-bedroom, also available now. Where is my true north? There we go. There we go. Here's my true north. A 5-bedroom, 20,000. A 3-bedroom, 20,500. Because it's got a cottage. There's 21,000. There's 21,000. 21,000 for a 2-bedroom. 22,000 for a 3-bedroom. So this is all the comparables that I've taken into consideration. And some of them, because they, like this one's got an address. This is close to the property that I was looking at. So looking at all of these that is close to the property that I was looking at. This property they used on an example on private property. They had a webinar last week. Here's another one, 25,000. So now with the house that is done up, they'll be able to get away with prices like this. Maybe not like this, because this one is fully furnished. Or is it not? Furnished family, okay, something. So this just becomes a numbers game. You're looking for a point of entry. You're looking for something to negotiate on. If somebody doesn't have their ducks in a row, you look to see if that is a point of, is this something that I can negotiate on or not? And that's what it really becomes in this particular space. And for me, fortunately, Tyron was truthful. He told me the tenants don't even pay half of what the rental in this area is. The reason being, the place is dilapidated. He said to me, Jen, I wouldn't stay in a place like this. Tanya and Gavin came to view the property with me from the previous group. And Tanya said she went straight for the hand sanitizer. Tanya was freaked out. She actually just said, the blinkers have been taken off of my eyes. And Tanya's a real estate agent.
Yeah, our level of pretty and it fix me up are totally different.
Absolutely. So there's a lot to consider. And for the fact that he told me all of these things, they are currently suing the previous buyer of that house. So Tyron and them sold the house last year for 1.8 million. But the guy that bought it said he's buying it in cash. And then he started making applications to build a mosque. And he was refused. And since then, he's been AWOL. So I already know they've been through the mill. They've been through the mill. This place is paid up. 20 years in, $250,000. I'm not saying that they should just take $1 million and some change and go. Obviously, they've invested life in there, but they have to be reasonable about where they are and what they can do. Cool.
Yeah.
So guys, there's a lot to
Makes
learn in
sense.
terms of negotiating, eh?
Yeah. But I guess the only way to know is by doing.
Yeah.
There is, where is it here? Let me just share this one. This book is the ish. If you guys can, I bought this book on Audible. If you guys can, buy this book, the book on negotiating real estate. I don't know if these PDFs are going to be working here, but just type in the book on negotiating real estate PDF and see if it will come, if you're able to download it. But this book, I listen to, it's an 8-hour book. I listen to at least twice a month. Okay. So ladies, that's the evening. That's the evening in a nutshell and what we're wanting to share. Just to encourage you that networking is important, especially in this space, finding people with money, especially if we want to do joint ventures or sourcing or just wanting to know more education on what's happening. There's always new information. It's a buyer's market at the moment. Everybody's talking about that. Lightstone is promoting female buyers, and they're saying that single females are the biggest buyers. And it's an average almost 800,000 a property that they're buying. So there's appetite in the market for that. In terms of
Most we found our wings.
Exactly. And then in terms of negotiating, negotiating is not a one-time thing. You just have to keep listening and delving in. I mean, I still listen to sales videos on YouTube. I listen to marketing videos on YouTube. I listen to and then when I need to invest, I invest in a book like this, the book on negotiating. We bought it on Audible. TJ has an account. He shares the account with me, and we've got a negotiation between us in the house on different books that we want, and we share between the two of us, because we can, one Audible account can be shared between two people. And this is how we've leveraged our resources in the house as well, to see how best we can even serve each other as two entrepreneurs in the house. So, right, ladies, do you have any questions? Anything else you may want to share?
For me, no, I'm good.
Yeah, Namfoot, I'm good.
Good stuff. I want to say that go on to Telegram and go and see the previous groups videos. And when you just want to listen, because all the videos are downloadable, download them when you're at home on Wi-Fi, and when you're driving, just listen. Especially the ones where we get to listening to more than one voice, which is mine. Okay. Week 3 and 4 there's a lot more discussion. Week 5 and 6, we get to spending time together. Okay. So ladies, I will see you next week, Wednesday at 7:30. It will be week 4. Week 4, we start talking about the different suspensive clauses on the OTP and how best you can shape the OTP from an investor point of view. We will go through an OTP very high level, but we will definitely hone in on the suspensive clauses. And then think about what conversation do we want to have as a group when we meet again on week 8. And let's also confirm whether the date for week 8 we can meet. Because remember, you guys were going to go back and have a look at your calendars to see whether.
It's the 27th, right?
Yebo.
Yeah, I'm available.
Perfect. Matembi, what are you doing on the 27th of September?
I think I will be available.
Cool.
But I will confirm. But yeah.
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, on the 28th of September, we'll have our week 8 of our coaching session. We have it face-to-face back at my training room. And that's when I get Alexa to come back and talk more about suspensive clauses on the OTP. And I get to asking Bruno, which is the attorney, to talk about a subject of our choice. So to give you an indication, both of you, the previous group wanted to talk more about structures in terms of trust, how to buy property, and Bruno spoke about that. The previous group wanted to delve into worst case scenarios about an OTP. Bruno spoke about that. Okay, so just think about what sort of subject do you want discussed. It doesn't necessarily have to be Bruno. But if you say, I want to talk about, I don't know, whatever, I will then source out the person to come and have that conversation with us.
Okay, so Jen, do you have the videos for those two, for the past two? Because, okay.
No. When it comes to week 8 is just the one video that it's like week 5 and 6. Week 5 and 6 is a one-on-one. It is an engagement with you and me on a property you found. I come with you. We have discussions. We debrief. That becomes a very personal thing. Week 8, because it's face-to-face with Bruno, it's not online like this. So there's no way for me to be able to record it.
Okay, no, it's because for me, it's that of the trust.
Okay.
But you will add more.
No problem. So if you're thinking on the trust, or you're thinking about maybe business or whatever it is, the three of us, or rather with Paul next week, we can then discuss maybe it's trust in something else or just trust. Bruno can talk about it again.
Okay. No, we will think about it. I think next week, all of us will have something.
Perfect stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies, for your time, your energy. I love that we were able to participate. And next week, Wednesday it is, 7:30.
Double. Sharp.
Yes, have a lovely day.
Thanks so much. Both of you too. Take care.
Yes, level bye. And bye, Jenny.
Okay, ciao, ciao.
Yes, that up.